I failed at everything. It seems everything I tried with great promise and God would open doors for me, but somehow I would just screw it up. But one thing worked for me, and I recommend it to everybody. I saw how we all know how the people in the Bible who got healed by Jesus, and what they did is that they got to him directly. They didn't really want anyone else to touch them. In fact, no one else could. The great priests of that time, the doctors, of which Luke was one, it just couldn't be done for them, and that's why they were there. People who had demons, sicknesses, people had died, but they got them to Jesus, and once they got to Jesus, they were healed. And the thing that is positive and moving in my life, the thing that you see about me is of course, it's a man who is struggling. My struggles are great even here today. But the one thing that I recommend to you completely is Jesus. And I'm just not saying in a normal way. You go and you say the sinner's prayer, because we can say the sinner's prayer and we don't put in the effort. And I don't know what that means. God knows what that means when you do that. But the one thing that got me straight, the one thing that made sense of all the failure, of all the heartbreak, of all the difficulty, even now, was that I got to Jesus. And how I got to Jesus is that I got to him through his word. We preach. I'm a preacher. And it's good what we do, because how else can we hear unless somebody preaches? But when you are like blind Bartimaeus, when you're like the woman who had the issue, when you've got a child who throws himself in the fire and water, when someone's died, a thing in you have died, the child in you have died, you got to bring it to Jesus. And how I brought myself to Jesus is that it's through his word. I'm not talking about just looking at the words on the page and with charisma reciting. It's not a recitation thing for me anyway. And what I found is that once I got to the meaning of it, through a dictionary, through getting a dictionary for the Greek and the Hebrew, and looking at what Jesus was doing at that time, then I saw something else, and I saw me standing in the need of prayer, and it healed. It made those things that I thought were failures into great triumphs, because here I am worshiping the Lord. So I recommend it to you highly. I don't care what stage you are in your sanctification process. You have to get deep into the word of Jesus. I'm not talking about theology degrees. They're wonderful. They do what they do. They are marvelous. But you could be a great theologian and yet still be unsaved. But get to the word of God. If you're in a relationship with someone, you don't just listen, let it pass through one ear. Yeah, we do that, of course. But if you listen, you're going to hear the heart of the person, the hurt of the person, the child in the person, and you begin to see them through a different light. When you see the person in total, not just for what you're hearing with your busy mind. And if you get through to Jesus that way, the word is just as powerful as his being. I know people have relics, the Shrive of Turin, all these other things, but the word of God is even greater than any shroud you're ever going to find it anywhere. You can find the cross itself, but if you don't have the word of God, you really have nothing. And I say to you, we all have Bibles. Don't worry about studying and all this stuff. Just get you a Greek and a Hebrew dictionary, and start with one verse. Start with Genesis, one verse, and read the definition for each and every word. And I'm telling you, it's as if God is standing on your shoulder and guiding you to the way out of your problems. And that's all I've done. There's no gift, there's no nothing. It's just hunger. It's just being sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's the only way out. You have to get to Jesus.